The one and only Xylophoney here to showcase to you guys the top 10 dinosaurs of Yu-Gi-Oh! Personally, I've always been a huge fan of dinosaurs, so trying them out in this card game was a no-brainer. Especially considering they've recently gotten new support and some very powerful cards added to their roster. For this top 10, we're going to be leaving out pendulums and spell cards such as Lost World, and we're just going to focus in on the monsters. So let's start off with our number 10. Number 10. GILASAURUS. You can special summon this card from your hand. If summoned this way, activate this effect. Your opponent can special summon one monster from their graveyard. So as you can see, this is a very easy card to summon, especially if you pull it in the first turn. This means that your opponent will have no cards in their graveyard, so there is absolutely no downside to using this effect. Of course, later on in the game, a GILASAURUS could be detrimental considering your opponent will probably have some strong cards in their graveyard. But if you can get this guy early, he's really good to tribute for other monsters. Not to mention, he's a raptor, and raptors are cool. Number 9. JURRAC Giganoto. While this card is face up on the field, all face up JURRAC monsters you control gain 200 attack for each JURRAC monster in the graveyard. When it comes to running a JURRAC deck, I can't imagine a better card than JURRAC Giganoto. This thing doesn't only power itself up, but it makes everything on your side of the field incredibly powerful in the late game. The downside is early on, it's not a very strong card with its 2,100 attack points, but if you have only 5 JURRAC monsters in the graveyard, that means every monster on your side of the field is gaining 1,000 attack points. This puts him up above 3,000, and that's only where it starts. Obviously, 10 monsters in the graveyard means he's increased by 2,000 attack points, and that means everybody, even your weaker monsters. That makes him one of the most powerful options to run in a JURRAC deck. Number 8. The Hyper Hammerhead. At the end of the damage step, if an opponent's monster that battled this card is not destroyed, return that opponent's monster to the hand. Hyper Hammerhead is one of the trolliest dinosaur cards, and that's why I love him. If you're a fan of this channel, it's probably no surprise to you that I like to troll my opponent every now and then. This card, as well as its counterpart, JURRAC PTERA, are able to, well, do just that, troll your opponent quite a bit. By being just a tiny little monster you can throw out in desperate times, they can defeat some of the most powerful monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Simply by returning them to their owner's hand. Now, of course, some powerful monsters will do just fine in their opponent's hand, considering they can be summoned right again. But when it comes down to things such as Xe monsters and Synchro monsters, they will be returned back to the extra deck, destroying them completely, well, essentially. So this card is a really good counter for anything powerful, yet it's just a little 4-star. A very nice card. Number 7. The EVILSWARM Salamandra. Up to twice per turn, you can banish one monster from your graveyard. This card gains 300 attack until your opponent's next end phase. The EVILSWARM Salamandra may not look that great at first glance, but it can get good mid-range power while also setting you up for future moves. Now, looking at his attack points of 1,850, he's slightly better than the average 4-star. However, he can add 300 attack per monster he banishes, meaning he can add 600 attack and give himself 2,450 attack points. This puts him above quite a few monsters, even some more powerful ones. Now, he's not a powerhouse by any means, but he also removes cards from the graveyard and banishes them. This helps with some of the other nice effects of dinosaurs. We'll get to those later, but I think people may know what I'm getting to. But if you're running out of options, EVILSWARM Salamandra can often save the day, and he doesn't even lose his attack until after your opponent's done making their final move. Number 6. The Super Ancient DINOBEAST. You can tribute summon this card in face-up attack position by tributing one dinosaur-type monster. When a dinosaur-type monster is special summoned from your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can draw one card. The Super Ancient DINOBEAST beats out a lot of powerful classic dinosaur cards in my opinion. It's a very easy card to summon, it has pretty good attack, and considering combos it can add up to, it has some good secondary effects as well. The benefit of using a Super Ancient DINOBEAST is because you can tribute it with just one card. If you're running a dinosaur deck, that's one of any other monster you have. Personally, I like to sacrifice the GILASAURUS to bring this guy out. That means Early on in the game, you can have an extremely powerful monster on the field that's probably only going to go down to card effects and trap cards, which comes in handy. However, what makes him really good is the combos that he's capable of, especially with the next card in our top 10. Number 5. The Soul Eating Oviraptor. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can take one dinosaur type monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You can target one other level 4 or lower dinosaur type monster on the field, destroy it, then special summon one dinosaur type monster from your graveyard in defense position. You can only use the effect of Soul Eating Oviraptor once per turn. This Oviraptor is one of those new support additions I was talking about, and he can make some crazy things happen. By having all of these effects, the Soul Eating Oviraptor can combo with so many different dinosaur cards that weren't really used that much in the past, such as Baby Sarasaurus and things like that. Now earlier I mentioned that he could combo up with the super ancient Dinobeast, because by special summoning a dinosaur card from the graveyard, super ancient Dinobeast lets you draw one additional card. So with the power of Soul Eating Oviraptor, you can essentially draw one card, search one card, and special summon one card to the field, all with one card. It comes in handy, not to mention that's only one of the weaker combos that can be done with this. You could easily just bring the strongest card from your deck to your hand, and combo however you wish with the Soul Eating Oviraptor. Number 4. MISCELLANEOUSAURUS. Hey, do I really have to read this effect? It's kinda long. Okay, fine. During either player's main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. During this main phase, dinosaur-type monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. You can banish any number of dinosaur-type monsters from your graveyard, including this card, to special summon one dinosaur-type monster from your deck, with a level equal to the total number of monsters banished to activate this effect. But destroy it during the end phase. You can only use this card once per turn. The MISCELLANEOUSAURUS may be the most versatile of dinosaur cards. Not only can it stop your opponent's dangerous effects, but you can use it to special summon other cards, such as the Soul Eating Oviraptor, activating its effect and setting off all of your combos. MISCELLANEOUSAURUS is always a good card to draw into, because even if you don't need him particularly, he can let you get the cards that you do need to set off your combos. Not to mention, it's always handy to stop your opponent's card effects when you have a deck full of powerful monsters that don't necessarily protect themselves. Number 3. VOLCASAURUS. Once per turn, you can detach one XYZ material from this card. Then target up one face-up monster your opponent controls, destroy that opponent's monster, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. This card cannot attack your opponent directly after the turn you activate this card. You may have noticed that there's not a lot of XYZ cards in this countdown, because dinosaurs actually only have 3 of them, but VOLCASAURUS manages to stand out above the others. Of course, he has the classic ability to destroy your opponent's monsters, meaning whatever their power is, whatever they can do to you, you can just destroy them outright. What makes the VOLCASAURUS stand out against cards with similar effects is that he also inflicts burn damage. Assuming you summon VOLCASAURUS because your opponent has some very powerful card you can't defeat normally, you will inflict more than 2,500 life points of damage just by activating this card once. Not to mention you have a decent powered monster on the field now, and if you're able to protect him, you can do it a second time. This will stop any of your opponent's power plays right in their tracks. The only downside about this card is he can be a little difficult to summon because there's not many good level 5 dinosaurs. But with the right deck and a couple of tricks, you can manage to get this powerful monster on your side of the field. Number 2. The Ultimate Conductor TYRANNO. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 2 dinosaur monsters from your graveyard. Once per turn, during either player's main phase, you can destroy one monster in your hand or field, and if you do, change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls, once each. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks a defense position monster, you can inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent, and if you do, send that defense position monster to the graveyard. Ultimate Conductor TYRANNO is an amazing card, but shut up, you know what's in number 1. Anyway, this card is extremely easy to summon. Very, very easy to summon. You only need 2 dinosaur monsters in your graveyard. If you're running a dinosaur deck, this is no problem at all. Even if you're running just another deck with dinosaurs in it, you can probably summon this card with no problem. And that's just saying a level whatever 3,500 attack point monster. It's insanely good already, but then it has other effects. Just during your opponent's turn, you can send your opponent's attack position monsters to defense mode, which means that he's kinda unkillable. So even if your opponent has a stronger monster, he's not gonna get to attack, cause Ultimate Conductor TYRANNO says so. And if you use that effect on your turn, you can just destroy things. If you just attack them when they're in defense position, they die. I don't care what their defense points are, they still die. This guy is ridiculous. I first saw this thing and didn't believe it. It's an extremely overpowered card. Not to mention he combos up beautifully with plenty of other dinosaur cards. Other things we've mentioned in the countdown can help summon this guy, help set him up, help make this thing incredibly amazing. And he has the effects of other powerful dinosaur cards, considering he can attack every monster on your opponent's side of the field. There's a lot of possibilities with this, but he's just an extremely powerful card with a million good effects. And he's just good. He's really, really good, guys. He's good. But that brings us to the final card in this countdown. Number 1. The Little D. Just kidding. Tyranno Infinity. The original attack of this card is the number of your banished dinosaur-type monsters times 1,000. Tyranno Infinity is the strongest dinosaur card. In fact, he's one of the strongest cards, period. Now, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is a whole lot easier to use and useful in way more situations, but Tyranno Infinity can get an astounding number of attack points. This is the banished number times 1,000. So just by summoning an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, you give him another 2,000 attack points. Just by banishing 2 with the EVILSWARM Salamandra, that's another 2,000 attack points. Not to mention there's trap cards that can banish all the dinosaurs in your graveyard and give this guy easily 10,000 attack points, 15,000 attack points. I've seen 20,000 attack points in an average duel. Now if you want to talk about the big numbers, I've made a crazy deck before and gotten this guy to 70,000 attack points. 70,000! That's a lot of attack points. So just a standard play of this card can often be more than 8,000 life points and be enough to destroy your opponent in one turn. It's pretty insane. Now obviously there's glaring weaknesses, considering that's his only effect. He's just a raw powerhouse, but he's one of the most amazing powerhouses in the game. Not to mention, he has the Infinity Attack! Okay, so he's my favorite card. Deal with it. Anyway, if you have had fun with this countdown of the top 10 dinosaurs in Yu-Gi-Oh!, make sure to comment down below what type of top 10 countdown you want to see next. We have a lot of ideas coming, and I'm sure you guys got some great ideas as well, so share them below, leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed, or a dislike if you strongly disagree, I don't care. But most importantly, subscribe to the channel for new Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos every day, and hit the button that looks a lot like the one that's on the screen right now to enable notifications. We'll see you guys next time.